Okay, so let's get into this. Susan, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. And I know that you're not as connected, but I feel like you are connected in the sense of feeling emotions and stuff like that. I still feel like that still is your best benefit. So what I'm going to ask you to do is jump in anytime you sense anything or you question anything or have a question about anything, okay?
Okay.
Susan, the same thing. If we're talking and you're picking up anything at all, jump in and let us know what you're sensing, okay? The reason I always say that we're all part of the puzzle is because if you think about the amount of emotions that are out there coming off of one person just in one day, it's a ton. Now, if you think about all those emotions of all the people in the world and everything that's going on out there, it's a gazillion emotions. So I might be pulling on something and Janelle might be sensing something and you might get a whole entirely different feeling, and all that is what is so important to put the puzzle together. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody understand?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go with, what's your first question, Janelle?
Okay. Well, I was reading through a little book by Bud Hopkins and another author, and I can't remember her name, but I think it's called Sight Unseen. And they were talking about human-alien hybrids. Can we get into that first?
If you want to, yeah.
Okay. Now,
what they're saying is direct the question so they can answer you and as honestly as possible, okay?
Okay.
And there might be, it might not be easily, let me back up to what I just felt from them. We have to direct what was then, what was going on, and is it still going on? And, then if it's still going on, why? Okay?
Okay.
So go ahead.
Okay. My question is, now, in this point in time, are they maybe ditching the hybrid thing? Because I think we talked about maybe they tried it in the past and it didn't work out. But I've been reading about transgenetics, and that's taking the DNA, like maybe out of a human cell, not a sexual cell, but a somatic cell. I think that's what it's called. It'd be like something you could get from your skin or your blood, and then they would take that DNA and they could put it into a mouse. Our scientists have been able to do this. So, have the Greys been creating transgenic humans with their DNA?
Hold on, let me just double check. Okay, in the past, there have been instances where this has been, okay guys, let's get it together because I don't want this to be a 3-hour marathon, okay? In the past, there have been incidents where there have been beings of another universe come here and do what they can to discover about us or anything about us as far as instilling and Janelle, I'm getting feelings that the information that I'm getting coming off of everyone is that they did what they could to gather information about us, getting samples wherever they could, but I'm feeling like they did not stay here. I don't feel like the hybrid, or what I'm feeling is that the hybrid was taken back, or the DNA samples were taken back to their point in time when this was going on to do their experimenting either on their ship or on their, you know what, I keep getting future. This is what I keep getting. And remember we talked about this before, about how the Greys, or how we have been calling certain beings Greys that are not of our now, they are of our future, that they have come back here because they have destroyed their genetics, and their mindset was to come back and to do whatever they could to revalue their bodies. And I don't know, Anne or Susan, if you we've talked about this, but Janelle and I have, in one time, I felt like they had come back, and it was a futuristic thing. They came here, time traveled, got the information that they needed, and I think a lot of things that were done back then, a long time ago, were very frightening on people. But the thing that Janelle and I talked about, and Janelle, this is probably, a year or so ago, we talked about the fact that they had literally destroyed their genetics by inbreeding so much, and these are us in the future.
And these are human beings.
Yeah, human beings in the future, our beings in the future, who have inbred so much that they literally started destroying themselves. They had this opportunity to come back and experiment with something that could make them a better species.
Why is it that they look like the gray being?
From what I picked up then and what I'm picking up now, this is like a very, very, very long time ago. They have that humanoid look. They have like a I'm just getting a long time. I mean, really a long time in the future. This is like, see, this is why I had so much trouble. And Anne, you might have seen one of these emails on my YouTube videos, where, on my YouTube emails, where people have asked me about stuff and I've had to fight them for information because they didn't want to tell me. It was like I got information, but it was so abstract that I had to argue with them about it. And I said, you told me if someone asked me a question, they are entitled to an answer. Now I want an answer. And I found that the hardest ones that I had to deal with were the ones that dealt with future travel.
Is that because it's not really concrete?
No, it's in their state of mind, it's concrete.
Okay.
But what they do to come back, by doing so, it messes with our thought processes. Because now we are thinking we're invaded by another universe, another planet, somewhere out there, whatever, and they want to keep that thought going because they didn't want us to look for the truth. They didn't want us to look for that they were coming here from the future to do something to rebuild their DNA, to rebuild their genetics. From what I picked up, and what I'm still picking up, is they literally walked away from the sexual part of them in order to make sure that they could have this ability, this mind power ability. But what happened is they still did all their procreating, so to speak, but it was done in laboratory conditions where you can see that happening even today with, some of the things that we even hear about. Even cloning and stuff. So it's not something that is new to us. And what I picked up from that is a lot of these emotions that we feel is also being instilled in our minds based on the fact that they are letting us know inadvertently when they're around what the problem is, what the situation is. And if it's not us picking it up, someone else picks it up. By me questioning it, like, well, what's going on? Some of it is near future, and they're here to take care of us to a certain extent. They're not really here to take care of everyone. A handful of people based on what information needs to be given to people, but at the same time, they're concerned about the planet and us doing so much disaster to it. That's their biggest concern. And one time I picked up that it was like, who cares about the people? So I know that there's a little bit of an edge to how they feel about certain people on this planet, but they also know they have to provide for it. From this other situation I was picking up, and Janelle, I'm picking up, it's the taller beings now, not the shorter grays. Remember, because the shorter grays,
would these be
know,
because there are people that have been all over YouTube that have written books about tall gray aliens? Are these the grays that have the big noses, or are these the grays that are maybe 7 feet tall?
I'm picking up that these are the tall grays that look very humanoid. Now we have had shorter grays and grays that almost in like our height range that I feel do come in from other areas of the universe. Remember, I have even done past life, how did my soul begin, and see these grays. So I know that they are here from another area. You know, the whole thing of it is that some of the ones that I have seen have been here as far as what I've been picking up lately has been it's been like past life information coming off our souls. And just like this one kid, when I said, you have a being that we call a gray, and I was describing what it looked like. And the mother said, yeah, he said he had a dream about that. He knows exactly what you're talking about, and he's going to draw a picture of it. And you know who we're talking about. I'm trying to keep this impersonal.
Right.
Well, that led me to believe that there are certain beings on other areas of the universe that are, you know, evolved. And some evolved, some not so evolved, because look at what happened with the situation with Sabrona, where he went and everything. And that was just part of a species. So I know there's species out there. The ones that have the wherewithal to help themselves with our DNA, I have been getting for a long time that they have been here for a long time doing what they can to help their species.
What's so special?
And that was a long time ago.
What is it that they were after in our DNA? These other species besides the humans. Did I hear that right?
Yeah, their interest in their DNA was to instill in their DNA a proper form of genetic makeup to make them look more like what we look like today, to bring that back into their time period, to help the race of beings. Because what I picked up when I was getting these emails about future type stuff, what I was picking up was they were literally so evolved that their race was into an extinction. And extinction enough that they could do all this stuff, but they couldn't survive in the state of mind that they were in. Even with the stuff that they were creating, test tube babies or whatever you want to call it, was becoming difficult to maintain. So that was their choice.
So would that be why maybe these alien abductees would be claiming to see maybe these hybrid-looking children? Is that like a subjective thought, or is that maybe these future humans?
I don't really feel like it's anything on our planet in our time frame. I feel like it's something that they have been subjected to. Now you have to think, we have spirit guides out there. Some of them are very evolved spirits that know things, that know what's going on. And in the doing so, they're looking around and going, whoa, what the heck is this? You know, I see something here that doesn't look like our normal stuff. What's this? And even in that state of mind of being in their present now, they go around and say, well, let me go check this out and see what's going on. And this is the kind of feeling that I would get, is that they would say, well, let me go check this out. And in doing so, a lot of information would go out there to say, you know, wait, if they're coming here to do this, and if we didn't know, say like somebody came up and took us, you know, a sample of your skin, or, you know, experimented on you for whatever reason, and you were frightened out of your mind over what was going on, you would say this is a mean thing, because they may not be sharing their, you know, what they know why they're doing this out of their own concern about changing out their future because of what they're doing to us in this moment.
So why are these people that are claiming to be abducted by aliens having experiences where they'll say it was terrible because they were subjected to all this medical and sexually invasive work, and then some will say it was a real enlightenment feeling that they had, that they felt like they were connected, like the Greys were our brothers, and in a sense we are because we're all in the universe, but why is there this interchange of feelings?
Well, I think the ones that are from the future, or from what I'm gathering, from what I'm feeling, is it's like it's maybe even a threefold thing, if you want to call it that, because one thing I felt that they just gave me is that the ones that were doing this was a long time ago. And then there are those out there who think that they need to take advantage of that situation by instilling thoughts or images in our mind without realizing that sometimes that may be causing us issues, fear and, what can happen with fear-based things. It can go into mass hysteria.
And you're talking about the hypnosis sessions?
Well, everything. I mean, in the sense of when someone is getting into a situation where they say they may have been in a power dream.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know it's a power dream. They just think that they just had this alien hold them down and do horrible things to them, and then all of a sudden they woke up hours later and they were in their bed. And you think, okay, were you in your bed the whole time? Because a lot of these people can have, even under hypnosis, if they're not careful, can have subjective thought given to them by the person who's doing the hypnosis.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be careful with what you say, or you might subject something to them, and the energy around you, playful spirits or lesser knowing spirits, because like this one guy said on a YouTube video, we have lesser beings around us. These beings could be animals or anything of lesser minds, and they will go along with whatever you believe. But not only do they go along with what you believe, they also believe it enough to impact your own thinking with it.
What about people like Bud Hopkins and Dr. David Jacobs, that have been doing this for a very long time, and they claim that they understood their own mistakes during hypnosis sessions and how not to lead the subject, and they were very precise with it, but they're still getting the same thing.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're very precise with what they do. From what they're telling me, they did make their mistakes in the past. They do still have some things that they're dealing with the issues from people, because I even sense that they doubt what they're getting off of people still today. And I think that they go along with it a lot of times, Janelle, because they really, 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 really need that backup and support. But I still feel some doubt coming off of them. I really do. And I think that's what happens is like, you tell me something, and it's really real to you. But I get doubt, like, what the heck? Why am I feeling all this doubt? And they're saying, well, it's because she's not doing this, or she's not getting the information from her because she's being blocked or whatever. So, yeah, there's some things that can go on in people's minds.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that the people who are not in their minds, if they're not into what we know how to do, and they're just giving them, tell me what you see, whatever, even these people can go through hypnotic suggestions, not just with their minds, not with the hypnosis procedure, but also those around them. And those around them could be there deliberately to set them up. You know how that feels.
Mm-hmm.
We all been through that.
Yes.
And those subjective thoughts around us could be deliberately setting us up to either confuse, distort the truth, or to establish something that may not even be the truth. Just to take what I picked up a long time ago, it was as if to take the heat off of what was really going on. And that's how Janelle and I were talking about it, as if to say, well, let them think whatever they want to think, because that takes the heat off of us. And we don't want them to know what we're really doing. So part of it is to distort the truth, the real truth, so that we have no idea what's really going on because of all the other things that are being subjected to other people who are not well into being, I don't want to say weak-minded, to be easily subjected to. That, like, they don't have
Gullible?
the street sense. Yeah, gullible, or lacking of enough common sense or street sense. I mean, people can be book smart but not street smart.
Right.
And then there could be people who are street smart but not necessarily book smart. And these people can still be easily taken advantage of. And that's why I always say it's good to have both going for you.
Now, these alleged, I'll call them alleged abductees, they'll claim that maybe they'll be driving down the road, and then they'll experience missing time for 2 or 3 hours, and then they'll end up somewhere where they don't remember, and the mileage won't pick up on their car. You think if they were driving for 2 hours, that would pick up on their car.
Yeah, and that the thing of it is on that, remember we had talked about this a long time ago, that at the very beginning of these people who were being abducted, they were totally into the whole abduction thing. And I feel like
what about the people that are claiming it still today?
Like I said, each person would have to be actually analyze their emotions, the emotions around them. I mean, to say generally, as a general thought, hold on, let me ask. Is it still going on today? There have been occasions where there have been people taken advantage of, and it's been in reality, actuality, not fantasy. Okay, so Janelle, there's your answer. It is still going on today. It just depends on who's doing it and for what reason.
Now, would it be these gray beings, or?
Is it just the grays that are from the future, or others? It is from anyone who knows how to come into this period of time and take advantage of it. So I am picking up from that remark, Janelle, that it's somewhere in the future, but not the far future. I mean, when I picked up, the first thing I picked up was from these beings that were from the far future, these tall, gray-looking, humanoid-looking beings. What I picked up was that this was an experiment to save the race. Now, the other things I'm picking up is I have a feeling that there's another period of time that I'm picking up now that I'm getting as not as far as the other future, as the nearer future, and this is just an experimentation. I honestly feel like it's a win or lose experimentation to come back and see what's going on. And why are they abducting people? They're not. Okay, so those are not. The people we told you about, those are the ones that have come back. They have come back periodically in order to see what they need to see, to do what they need to do. Are they hurting people? Yeah, I think it's part of it is observing, but gathering information still to help their breed to still in the same state of mind. That I think what they're doing is if they have an experimentation that goes bad, they come back and do what they can to gather more from different time periods, different species here. I don't feel like it's all the time. And again, I'm picking up that it's also mass hysteria. That's also part of it. So there are occasions where there have been people that have been taken on a journey, so to speak, of, and you know, it's funny because it's not funny because I feel like they have literally taken them to experiment on them. And the part I'm having an issue with is the lost memory or the lost time. Because, you know, if you think about it, when you're put to sleep with general anesthetic, you'll be out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling they have the wherewithal to knock someone out. So that lost time, it's because they hold on, let me ask, because I'm getting some doubt now. Yeah, they're using a local anesthetic to put them out so they don't remember anything. Sometimes things happen. We all know this can happen in any state of mind when someone's in surgery, that they can have recall if the anesthesiologist isn't paying attention to what's going on. They have done this before. They have been able to take things from people. Sometimes it's been pretty bad. Because they were in that state of mind that they wanted to do whatever they wanted to do. You know what I'm picking up from this conversation that I'm getting with them right now? These beings from the far future, they look at us like we look at four-legged animals.
I was going to say we sound like bugs.
Yeah, I'm thinking that that's the reason that they were looking at us as if we might have been their ancestors, but at the same time, we were kind of what we would consider like, you know, Neanderthals today. You know, not having the.
So
well, I guess
that would
I
be
guess
for
it would
the
be more like
carelessness.
looking at Susan, and when Susan was in that state of being an arty, back all those years ago. They look at us today as evolved, but not as evolved as them. Seriously, not evolved as them.
Mm-hmm.
Very seriously evolved. I'm getting this over and over again. Very seriously evolved.
So they tried to become
very seriously evolved.
Now, do they say that to be egotistical then, since they look at us?
No, I am not getting egotistical off of that at all, Janelle. I'm getting the emotions where I'm picking up are the current day emotions that other spirits have picked up from them based on when they have come back here into this time period. So I'm not looking at them in the future sense. I'm looking at them in the sense of when they have come here in our period of time to visit with us to see what's been going on. And I'm saying our period of time based on, say, the last 50, 60 years or so, picking up their emotions of how they feel about us when they're around us.
So
okay?
This really isn't really too much new information, except we're talking about future humans, but a lot of people that have been studying this have been kind of linking gray beings with what we're saying is they're future humans, but they're two different species.
Yeah, I think actually there's more than two. In the past, in our past life, okay, we've had species on this planet that looked animalistic with hair on them, and I've seen that on other planets as well.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen other planets that have had small beings to maybe 5 foot tall that have had more like a textured skin, but dark in color, maybe a grayish brown or even a brownish color. I've seen the reptilian looking skin from another species. I've seen the species that we've communicated with, the androgynous ones. The ones that are male or female are the ones that I've been told by Zabrona that they have a tendency of being more warring, more hateful. But then again, if somebody's stomping your butt, I think you'd be hateful too. We've all had that experience.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to figure out what's going on around them that's making them feel so hateful. And in the meantime, is this a ploy to take us away from knowing what's really going on out there, as far as that mass hysteria to keep us from knowing what the grays from the future are doing? But that didn't work. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, it's like we're intelligent human beings, whether they think we're not either. Someone just gave me an impression that said what they feel like they can do in the future is something that we still wish we could do back in our time frame. And that's the ability with their minds to do things with their minds that we can't do, including things with their bodies that we can't do. And so I guess just with that concept of what they know how to do, we're still learning how to do it. Mm-hmm. And we're like way leagues behind them still.
But that information's out.
Tall gray species?
Yeah, I'm feeling like they're a tall gray species that is humanoid looking.
Okay.
I really don't feel like they're the. Are they the ones that have the thinner arms and legs? Are they more like us? They have tall bodies. They're not actually, to me, they're like white. I don't even see them as gray. I see them as white. I see that they have normal eyes.
What does normal mean?
Their heads are bigger. Well, not the pupils like we would have as pupils, but the pupils are larger. I feel like their eyes are larger. And the only reason I feel like they have been like that is because of their environment. Because I feel like they live in a situation where there's a lot of darkness around them. And maybe that might be something to do with their environment as well.
Well, and white skin and big eyes, that would make sense. Well, white skin and big eyes, that would make sense.
Yeah, it would. Pupils. Bigger pupils.
Almost like they've been indwelling for so long, mm-hmm. And it may be something to do with the planet, because the emotions that I'm picking up from the one that's telling me what's been going on was as if to say that the external part of our planet. You know, guys, I'm really feeling like our planet just went into a a death thing or something. I mean, from what I'm picking up, I feel like they live in these closed-in buildings because the atmosphere is not as appropriate as it is today. So that would have a lot to do